I just know you're ready to hear about a little crime. Welcome to Crime Daddies.
Hello, everybody, and we're so thankful and glad that you have chosen to click this podcast and give us the time of day. My name is Hunter. I am 30 years old. I've been with my wife 12 years, but we've been married almost 7 years, and we have 2 kids. I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. A little bit about myself. I was born in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and I have lived in Dexter, Missouri my entire life. I fall into the normalization of statistics of the millennial generation that grew up with divorced parents. My mom was single for a long time, and one thing that I remember doing with her as a kid was literally watching true crime on Lifetime and Oxygen constantly. I mean, it was a big part of my life. I remember being a kid and just sitting on the couch and just remember watching all these different murder cases just over and over and over. So as I got older, I naturally just became attached to true crime podcasts. So I figured if I invest so much of my time listening to them, why not make one of my own? Because it's something that really interests me.
Yeah, and my name is Jacob. I am also from Dexter. I've lived here for the majority of my life. I've moved around to different places, but for the most part, I'm from Dexter. Like Hunter, I was also born in Poplar Bluff. I'm 24 years old, and I am engaged to my partner, and I also have a daughter, and she is just a little baby at this point. And our stories are pretty similar to the point where we talk about our backgrounds coming from low-income households that come from divorce and substance abuse. And it tends to end up being the same thing where my mom as well, whenever she was going through a period through her divorce before she had another partner, she would just put on the TV and I'd sit next to her and we'd watch true crime or just televised stuff. Like we watched so many hours of Law and Order, SVU. We watched so much Forensic Files and Snapped. And so the passion for true crime just kind of started from there. And it just began to grow the older I got. Like I always had a weird infatuation with like all the crime cases. I remember growing up and thinking and watching and reading about O.J. Simpson or the murder of Tupac Shakur and, you know, the missing case of John Bonet and all these things that like always intrigued me. And I never really found anybody that was around my age that was a guy that also could sit down and had this interest. And so me and Hunter met a few months back. Funny enough, we met at church of all places, and here we are doing a crime podcast. But, you know, he saw my tattoo on my arm and questioned me about it. And that led to following each other on social media, going to the gym together. And then we found out the more we talk, the more we relate on more than just church and the gym. We also find that we had a passion for true crime, and we listened to very similar podcasts, and we're both dads. And so we relate on a bunch of different things. And so, we are 2 dads from Missouri that have very similar backgrounds and similar ways of thinking, but we're also different enough to have different perspectives whenever we bring cases to you guys. And so we just wanted to use this time as an introductory episode so you guys can get comfortable with my voice, get comfortable with Hunter's voice, and just get to knowing us. That way, whenever we do these podcast episodes, we can just get straight into the crime and you guys kind of feel familiar with what we got going on.
Also, we want to make it clear that we're not going to just be reading from a script. Like, this is going to be 1 week I may present a case, 1 week Jacob may present a case. I may tell him the facts and he's going to react, and the next week he may present a case and I'm going to react. So you're going to get a little bit of different taste in every single episode, to be honest. And we're going to give it to you real. We're not going to try and leave any details out. We're not going to make it necessarily filthy, but we're going to try and give you all the real evidence and facts that go into the case, whether it's the crime scene, whether it's...
Well, I think whenever you're dealing with situations like this, it's up to us, if we're going to cover these crimes, try and honor the victims in any way possible and be as real and honest with the situation. And so that's what we plan on doing. We're going to just tell it how it is, and we're going to, you know, try and make light of the situations that can be made light of, because there are some stupid things that happen in true crime. There's the thought processes of a criminal and just the mistakes they make that make them very idiotic, but we're also going to make sure that we tell it in a way that honors the victims and never puts them down. And so I think adding all the details in helps do that, because it just having full transparency and honesty with our audience is key to anything.
Absolutely. So if you hear me making jokes, it's always going to be about the killer and not the victim.
Exactly. And it's going to be tasteful, and it's just going to be from the perspective of two dads that are just sitting in a laundry room telling a podcast, you know?
So please give us some grace as we first start getting into this podcasting realm, because this is going to be a first for both of us, and we want to give you all quality content. So like I said, just give us a little bit of grace, but I think that the research is there, and I think that the delivery is going to be there, but getting used to using a microphone myself, like I've not had a whole lot of quality time with a microphone, I guess you'd say. The biggest thing I can say is what got me out of my comfortability is posting TikToks. I mean, that sounds kind of cringy, but that's what led me to be able to just talk into a microphone and hear my voice.
Yeah, and I think just the more we do it, the more comfortable we're going to get, and it's going to become second nature to the point where all we do is hit record and we feel like we're just talking to one another. And I think that's what's going to end up being the thing that people like about it, is because they don't feel like they're listening to Dateline. They feel like they're sitting with a couple buddies just talking about a crazy story. And the more comfortable we are, the better the quality is going to be for you guys. And so, like he started off at the beginning of this episode saying, thank you for just clicking on this podcast and giving us a quick listen. We hope you guys can join us weekly and follow along on all of our social medias every week, because we're going to be posting pictures of the crime scene, pictures of the victim, and some things like that. And so keep up to date with all those things if you're curious as to anything that pertains to these cases, or if we have any announcements, we'll also put them on our social medias before anything else. And the plan is to release a new case every week. Every once in a while, you guys may get lucky and get a couple cases per week, but we're going to try and start off with a routine for you guys. And so, like he said, we just appreciate you sticking around for the ride, and we hope you stay around and see where this goes.
And since we probably already know that our main audience is going to be people local to us, our first case is going to be a case that's very close by, near to us, that happened back in the 90s. So it's kind of an older case, but I think it's going to give us a great opportunity to show you our research skills and how we can present a case.
Yeah, and so if you're interested in some true crime that you may or may not already know, we're going to hope that we're different enough to present some things that you guys might not have heard of before, because the thing with crime is that it's everywhere, and it is in big towns and small towns, and it's in America, and it's also in Spain, and it's around the world. So there's going to be plenty of things for us to cover. And so we hope you guys listen to those stories that we're going to bring. And I think this first one is going to kind of get you hooked. So be ready for that one to come out.